Hello and welcome back to Seaside Garage. 5 days ago I went to the MOT station with the Clio Grand Prix. As you can see, it got number plates on. It passed. The only issue that it had was a bit uneven bias on the rear axle. I got that fixed. Now it's MOT'd and I have been driving it a lot for the last 5 days. This car, it's a lot more. I knew that it was going to be fun to drive. I've heard from many sources that this is a great handling GTI. Some even say it's one of the best ever made. Of course, most of them refers to the Williams, but this car, it is so much fun to drive. It's really nice. It's very responsive. It's very tight and the handling seems very balanced and poised. And remember, I owned the Renault 5 GT Turbo. It is actually at my storage at the moment. I'm thinking about making a comparison video between the two of them because that could be fun. This is in some way the next in line from the Renault 5. They stopped producing the Renault 5 mark or model number, and after that the Clio came. So this is pretty much the successor for the Renault 5. And when you look at it, you can see it. A lot of stuff is the same. A lot of the chassis is the same. The jacking points in the front and the rear that I changed on this one is actually bought for a Renault 5. It is the same pretty much. I did have to modify the shape a little bit, but I don't think that is because there's any difference. I just think that the part was maybe not completely perfect for this model at least. When you're sitting in the car, you feel kind of the heritage from the Renault 5 GT Turbo with the seats that is hugging you. And yeah, there's a lot of small stuff that is the same. Some of the buttons are the same. The light cluster up in the roof is the same. That's a lot of fun, but it feels a lot better built in my opinion. It's not that it's better or more fun, it's just different. The Renault 5 is a bit more bonkers in my opinion. This is a lot more civilized, aka a little bit more boring, but it is so far very nice daily classic because it works, at least for now. It is comfortable, it got ABS and all that, it even got an airbag, and it's still a lot of fun. When you floor it, this car moves, and it moves instantly, and the revs just goes on and on. And yeah, I really like the car so far. Now it's a rolling project. It is not finished. I have some issues. I'm going to have to fix a linkage or engine mount that is wobbling a little bit. I will make a video on that soon. Also, the engine is really noisy at startup when it's cold. I'm pretty sure that it's just one or maybe two lifters that are draining from oil and then having to use quite a lot of time to regain the oil pressure, and then it stops being so noisy. I'm going to try, and I know that's a bit of a gamble, I'm going to try an engine oil flush soon, where I put some additive into the oil and let it warm up and then drain everything and then change the oil again. I have also ordered some better quality oil for it. I choose some quite cheap 10W40 for it to begin with. I did know that I was going to drain it quite quickly. I like to do that when I start up an engine that hasn't run for a lot of years, just to put some cheap oil in, run it for 500 kilometers and then drain it again. A bit like an engine rebuild actually. So I'm going to change that for some good quality oil. I have chosen 5W40 for that. So I hope that will quiet the engine down a little bit. Another issue is the oil pressure. It got an oil pressure gauge. It reads pressure. But when the engine reaches running temperature, it actually drops to 0 at idle. I am pretty sure that the pressure gauge itself is at fault, and they are known to not be very reliable or very precise, and I don't have any engine oil light switching on, and that's a good thing. I am going to check the oil pressure with the gauge at some point, but I'm actually not that worried. And then the last thing, you can maybe see it, the rear arches, especially this side, has come out very bad from my paint job. This one is extremely poor because I tried to sand down the clear coat to get rid of all the ripples, and I sanded through the clear coat because I didn't put enough on. So now it's milky white and it's not good. I have ordered some new paint and some new clear coat. I've chosen another brand that I think will handle it better. Hopefully it will not react to the old stuff. I will have to sand it down, of course. I will try with that. I think there's a couple of issues. One thing, I'm a complete amateur at painting with a paint gun. This is the third time I try that on this car. I tried this side twice, the other side once, and I think I've done a lot of the beginner's faults now, and now I think I can do a better job, I hope. Let me show you a bit around on the car, and then let's take it for a test drive. Firstly, let me show you the very ugly rear wing. As you can see, the clear coat is completely milky white. I actually think I could polish this up, but as you can see, there is a lot of difference in thickness. Right here, I think I actually added enough clear coat, and here it's way too little, so I'm gonna redo it. The color match is pretty close, and I like that because, yeah, I actually bought paint from another place, so I hope they are just as good as the first one I tried. And then I also have to work a bit on my on my taping off skills, because you're not supposed to paint the windows. So I'm gonna try again very soon. Maybe I'll wait to for the weather to warm up a little bit, so I don't have to use so much power to warm up my garage, and also so I can use the A112 a couple of days while I do it. The other side is the good side. This is a pretty okay result, but I'm not completely happy with it, so I'm gonna redo this side as well. This side got a lot better coverage, and the clear coat is better, but it's still not as mirror-like as the old paint, so I would like to fix that. And also I have some places where the paint got too thin, and you can see a bit of the primer through. So I'm gonna redo this. Hopefully I will do a better job. It's actually a bit hard not to do a better job, so yeah. The interior of the car is very 90s. The 90s cars always have some weird patterns on the fabric. They rarely makes a lot of sense, and I don't know what this is supposed to look like, but I think it's specific to the Grand Prix model. The Grand Prix model is the color, blue Monaco color, I think exactly like the Williams. And then it's these wheels with the aluminum cover plate. And then another thing is, which I also think is specific to the Grand Prix model, is the radio control stalk up here, which is pretty normal for modern cars, but not back then. And then a Blaupunkt radio. And then, of course, the numbered plate. They made the Grand Prix in 500 editions, and this is number 480. And then we have the gauges. Yeah, there's a bit of soap up here because I just cleaned it. The fuel pressure gauge is working, but it's not, I hope, showing the correct pressure. It rises to around 5 bars at cold idle, and then it lowers down to around 4. And then while driving, it's around 2 or 3 bars, I think, and then idles all the way down to 0 when it's hot. I have a feeling that it is maybe showing 1.5, maybe 2 bars too little all the time, and actually working, but not being correct. But I could be wrong. Then they got the oil pressure, oil temperature sensor. This is showing around 90 degrees at normal. And then the last one is showing the amount of oil when you put on ignition, like this. Oh. Then it shows how much oil is in the car. Right now it's right between minimum and maximum. And then we got a nice rev gauge, fuel gauge, water temperature gauge, and the speedometer. One thing I really like about this car is this clock. It is so rare that you see an analog clock on cars, especially from the 90s. It's almost always digital. I really like the look of it, and of course it fits all the other dials very well. Then we got a 5-speed gearbox with a gear knob that is being very French. So when I change gears very quickly, then it falls off. I think I'm gonna glue that. Then up here we have a thing that is completely the same as the Renault 5 GT Turbo, at least on my Renault 5 GT Turbo. It's not working any of it, so it's also being very French. Haven't looked into that yet, but yeah, let's take this car for a drive. It is seriously a nice car, and I have to say I love driving weird old basic cars. I really do that. But sometimes lately I have been, especially when trying to find new projects, then I didn't really want to go look at cars that were more than 60 or 70 kilometers from home, because in an Abarth or Fiat Panda it is a bit hard to go the long distances, especially at high speed and so on. It's possible, but it is something that you can get a bit tired of doing, that's for sure. So having this car is really nice. It's a perfect time for me to have this, because it's fun still, and I think it's a new car, but it is 25 years old or something like that, so it is still very old. But for me it's that's another fun thing, because Renault Clio is not a luxury car, but coming from Pandas, 2CVs, Lancia A112 and so on, this is quite luxury. This is a pretty comfortable and nice riding car for sure, so that's nice. Possible to drive very quickly on these roads at the moment, because after the storm, we had a couple of storms lately, there is just trees and debris. I just drove past a plastic garden table, and there is a lot of water on the road everywhere, and being a French car, I don't really want to dip it in water. And often I talk about the fun of small cars with a lot of power, because yeah, I guess it's fun with a big car with a lot of power. I haven't really tried it. The most powerful car that I've driven is a Saab 9000 Aero. I also drove a Mercedes-Benz AMG, the station wagon from the early 2000s. That's also a quite powerful car, and that is fun, and it's nice on the highway and all that, but you don't really get to experience the car fully without either breaking the law badly, or having to go to a racetrack or to the Autobahn, which is straight out, so it's not very exciting handling wise. So I really like small cars with not necessarily a lot of power, but a good power to weight ratio. That makes it fun to drive every day on normal roads without breaking the speed limit, really. And I'm not the kind of guy who likes to break the speed limit. I can't see the reason to do that, because there's a reason there is a speed limit. So that's not for me. But this car is just on the limit for that, because it's not extremely fast and it doesn't have extremely much power, but it has enough power that it's a lot of fun. But you can also very quickly break the speed limit, that's for sure. That's the speed limit. So let's try a quick nod to the speed limit. The gear knob fell off. well, so I spun the tires, and I really did not mean to do that. I'm not that kind of person, but it's a bit slippery because all of that water. So go with milk. Speed limit. So I know this car will always live in the shadow of the Williams because, yeah, it's always the top model that gets the most attention, and it's most likely very well deserved. I have not driven the Williams, so I have no idea if this is just such a bad car compared to that, but I really doubt it. And if so, then I can just say that the Williams must be an amazing car, because this is an amazing car as well. I really like it. It's perfect for me. Still fun, still, and very enjoyable on the road. I'm looking forward to go looking at some more projects further away from my house than I have been doing for the last few months, at least. And that's gonna be fun. But thank you for watching, and see you in the next one.